Welcome to the Youth Pastors Are Pastors Too podcast, recorded in Central Texas, broadcasting to the world. Join your hosts and their weekly guests for insight, advice, guidance, and ideas to help your ministry flourish and help you take care of yourself. Now, with a combined 35 years of ministry experience, your hosts, Jacob Taylor and Jeremy Helms.
Hey, Grace, I want you to tell us why you're late.
On the spot, boom. On the spot.
I'm not late. I'm on the podcast.
Well, we waited 20 minutes for you.
We did.
Jake's a busy man.
Okay, so I rolled out of bed and I was like, okay, I'm just going to get dressed really fast. As soon as I get into my car, I have this really old cat. Okay. Blind and deaf. At least 17 years old.
Wow.
What?
Super skinny. Can't see. Whoa.
He's blind, you know.
And so I had to get him out from under my car and guide him over to the food bowl and the water. Or else he'll starve.
Is that kind of like my dog ate my homework?
No.
Is that a blind cat?
Old cat.
Holy moly.
Well, we're back 2 weeks in a row.
That's a record.
It is. And we have someone online with us.
We do.
Jeremy, you want to introduce them?
Yeah,
Wait,
I would love to.
Let me add that greatest camp director ever.
It's true story. True story.
Man.
We are we're I don't know if we're continuing the camp theme or not, but last episode we did the camp recap, and so we're excited to have Pastor Jake on. Jake got to know him because he is the camp director at Powerplus Camp Session 3. He graduated from ETBU. He was actually a youth pastor there at FBC Alta Loma for 8.5 years. Then their pastor went to go serve in another capacity somewhere else. So God began to just open up the opportunity for him to seek that, and he jumped right in, and now he serves as a full-time pastor at FBC Alta Loma down near Santa Fe, Texas. He started that in November of 2019. And so, not only does he have the youth pastor background, he's got the pastor background. So we're so excited to have our special guest, greatest director of camp, Jake. Where's the applause? Where's the applause button?
Sorry,
Hold on.
sorry.
Wait. Ready? Jake,
That's great.
Jake, say hello. See if you had anything to add, please add it.
No, I just happy to be here. Thanks for building me up. It's nice to have some people do that, even if the intentions are selfish, but I'll take it.
Whoa.
Wait.
Bum bum bum.
I think
He's not wrong.
I think the only reason we invited you to this podcast is because Jacob wants to be the assistant director of the camp.
I'll be honest with you. In my search for new assistant directors, potential candidates start with Grace, and then we'll go Jeremy, and potentially, I don't know who comes after that, but we'll see.
I could be the assistant director.
Wow,
I would never go
potential
back.
there.
I quit. What a joker.
Oh my goodness.
Then I'm gonna
Camp.
cancel
Are
the
you?
tip treats I've sent you.
Yeah, spam.
That's funny.
Well, do you feel like you've recovered from camp?
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, I actually feel pretty good. So the week after I got back, I got COVID. So I don't know if that has anything to do with camp or not, but I spent some time in isolation, which was actually pretty fantastic. After a busy week at camp, got some good rest. Feeling pretty good.
Maybe we should all just say we all got COVID, so
Yeah.
we can get like a week of isolation after camp.
It's not a bad get up, man. I'm just saying.
Mm.
Do you think would those days off count against your days off? I wonder.
Not really, no.
He's the lead pastor.
That's right. I told him, I said, hey, look, here's the deal. If we got to stay home,
Yeah.
keep
Makes
the PTO.
sense. Did any of your family also get the COVIDs?
Yep. All but my youngest thus far.
Okay.
But
And her birthday's Saturday, so that stinks. We're bummed for her.
Oh.
well, I also heard that earlier that you said it probably wasn't from camp. So
Yeah, I don't know that it was from camp. We have a bunch of other people in our church that got it too that weren't at camp. Who knows?
we had a pink eye breakout when we got back from camp.
One person got it.
Well, there was a scare because they were all using the same mask.
That started in the guy's dorm. I guarantee it.
There's some things going on in the dorm that you probably didn't know about. Did you know Jeremy's pranked us?
Listen, as long as there's no shaving cream, water balloons, it's all good.
Oh.
Well, you should add stink bombs to that list.
That's a good word.
Holy moly.
You see on the what not to bring list to camp is hairballs and dragons.
Dragons.
I saw that.
Livestock.
Yeah.
Livestock. Which
Do you want to know why that's on there?
I do, actually. Why?
Because someone did it.
No.
Straight up.
My.
Matter of fact, a year that you guys were there, someone brought their pet dragon to camp.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Like a living creature, legitimate.
Yeah.
Like a lizard?
Yeah.
We have a student that brings a plastic dragon with her because
Yeah.
of that rule.
Because of that, oh, perfect. That's mine. We should bring your plastic dragon. It's all good.
Well, I
Leave the living ones at home.
I did not do any kind of bag check. Honestly, we have 97% homeschool students and like 3% public school students. So in my mind, it was like they don't even know what prank supplies are.
Right. They're looking to you, bro. So you got to set them up.
So no, I didn't bring the pranks, but it did happen. My son was involved. I had no idea. And anyways, it just happened to be on the day that Jacob had lost a little bit of sleep. So
yeah, it was not. Yeah,
yeah. Was that your what was it? That was your ER night?
Yeah, it was the morning of. Like so Brennan, the other sponsor, went to the sponsor meeting for me, and then I was like, late. I was laying in bed, and then I get up, and I thought we had this other student come in and use the bathroom, and I thought he just blew it up. Like I was like, dude. That's not healthy, but the smell never went away. And man, Pineywoods maintenance people were coming in and out all morning trying to figure out what the smell was.
Bro, somebody ate bad eggs that morning, huh?
And we have a problem with the student that was in the bathroom in our youth room. So I just assumed it was him. And then they found the package, and that's how we got a case of water. By the way, your policy on bringing a case of water, every student brings a case of water, that is genius.
Yeah, well, happy that we could help out you, my brother.
Actually, you helped Jeremy out because we were locked and loaded, ready to put our revenge. But we won't talk about what our revenge was.
Why didn't you get
no
water for the girls' cabin?
You didn't have to suffer like we did.
We were suffering. Our girls were dropping like flies. The second twin, the other twin, she was in bed all day one day because she was like, I don't feel good.
I think she was just tired. But hey, this is about us. It's about Jake.
Bro. Bring water. It's a game changer. Bring water to camp. I mean, this should be without, having to be said, but do it. It's a good policy.
We bring our own cases, but we ran out because it was so hot.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have every student bring their own case of water, I actually wrote it down when we got back. I was like, that's genius.
Oh yeah,
it is. Do it. You don't waste it. You're going to use it for something, even if you take some home.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, we had 3 cases of water.
I said each cabin should get
Oh,
4,
bro.
and you were like, "No, that's too much." I was like, "Okay."
I'm pretty sure we had like 15 cases total, maybe more than that.
It's genius.
So y'all send you when you're a director at the camp. You also are you also being pastor of the students, or you have you have a youth pastor on staff?
You're talking about my church?
Yes.
Yeah. So my associate pastor is over students, and he oversees our group. I participate with them in almost everything, but sometimes, camp directing duties call me away from those kind of things.
Mhm.
But when I first started doing this, like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like that, I was still the lead youth pastor at the time. And so I was having but I will say this, I was not the lead director. I was an assistant director at that point now.
Mhm.
So that helped a lot too. But that was actually pretty tough trying to balance the two responsibilities. So I tell you what really helped me is having some great sponsors that were youth camp pros who knew how to just take over whenever they needed to do whatever. They could handle that kind of stuff. But yeah, having Nathan on staff, and Nathan was actually the 7th grade shepherd this week at camp. He's my associate pastor here, and yeah, he does take care of all things with our group, and I participate as much as I'm able to. But then yeah, got to run around and do some other stuff for camp as well.
Who were your assistant under for your like because when I met you, you were still assistant. Who were you working?
Right. Yeah, Tim Davis. You remember Tim?
Tim Davis. Okay. Yeah, I remember Tim Davis.
Yeah.
And then you were like,
so let's see. I think it was like, I can't remember what year it was, but maybe 21. Steve Boyd, who's the Powerplus director. Hey, we're losing a couple of directors this year, and we've got you plus another guy who's been assistant directing for a while that we see as potential directors. Are you interested? And I had to be honest with him. I think, just kind of had transitioned not too long before that into this role as lead pastor. And it's like, honestly, man, I need at least another year. And he says, fine, take it. And so I knew that was coming. I knew that we were working towards that. I anticipated that. And it's kind of what I'd wanted to do. My concern was the week. Session 3 is not, it's important to us because of the time of the year, and all the other weeks were not really. I could have done 3 or 4, but we already had somebody for 4. And then Tim was doing 3. They wanted me to move to week 1, which is 4th of July week. And my family does a big 4th of July thing every year. And so I was like, I'm just not sure that I'm willing to lose that. So it worked out that Tim said, hey, I'll go to 1. And that allowed me to do 3, which was cool because I got to keep a lot of those relationships that came week 3 every year. I appreciated that.
Yeah. I remember when we first talked, the first conversation we had was like, hey, I need a shepherd for 8th graders. I was like, how hard could that be? And then you were like, there's like 200 and something. I'm like, oh, I hate this guy.
Yeah. No, if I remember correct, that was like last minute too, like a week or 2 before.
It was like, I had
a dropout, just like last minute dropped out. I was like, hey, I can't come to camp. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do. Yeah, 8th grade was the biggest this year. I don't know this for sure, but I can record one power group as far as attendance. I want to say there was something like 250 dayters this year.
Wow.
It's wild.
Wow. Well, I was talking to one youth pastor that they sort of used the Powerplus Camp as their junior high camp, and so they only sent a bunch of junior high kids, and then they sent their high school kids. I don't know where they went, but
yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. That guy, Nathan. His name was Nathan. Another Nathan was our 8th grade shepherd, I believe. And Liberty Hill, they just brought their and they had like 80 something junior high kids. There's a bunch of junior high kids.
That church is actually probably, I don't know, 25 minutes from us, and they're just blowing up. They're blowing up. That whole area is blowing up. I mean, it's only going to get bigger.
Bro, to have 80 junior high kids, you have to.
They were in our dorm.
Yeah.
One of the groups were, and they were a lot to handle.
They did split them up.
They're junior high,
they split them up. Yeah.
It's like preteen camp 2.0.
Yep. True story. True story.
Yeah, we had they had one kid that was like possessed. He would like make noises at night, and then like one night, one of my students bushes, like, crouched down in the bushes. So it was weird. Can you hear me? I'm having connection issues. Uh-oh.
Something happened.
Keep talking.
Okay. Well, I've got a question.
Exorcisms at youth camp. It sounds like we need exorcisms at youth camp.
Is something, yeah, there you go. Something that kind of popped into my head. It sounds like you have put a lot of dedication and time into camp. Why?
Okay, that's a great question. And I think the answer is because I have seen the effectiveness of camp. I have seen what camp has done in the lives of students. And so it's kind of this long process, but I have this monthly kind of thing where I kind of grade some areas in my life where I'm doing well, like personally and financially and pastorally and as a friend. And one of those dials that I have is for camp life. And I'm involved not with just youth camp, but I'm also involved in a preteen camp. And I've just seen so many lives change. And then just coming out of, I grew up not so much in preteen camp, but in youth camp. I went to youth camp every single year. And it was just a place where the Lord worked in on and through my life. And so seeing the great value of that, we made it an important part of our identity as a church, that we want to, involve students in that process. And then alongside that, as I grew in leadership roles, I noticed that there were so many churches who, man, if I could just be honest, were just like trying their best just to keep trucking along, and we're just looking for help, for direction, for ideas. And so now, I've been doing ministry since I've been in a leadership role in ministry since 2017. I'm sorry, since 2007. And I was just praying before our week of youth camp that the Lord would just give me opportunities to pastor these leaders of these churches, just help them, navigate life of student ministry, just navigate life for them individually. And I love what camp does for students. I love what camp does for sponsors. And I love what camp does for the groups, the churches that come and are part of that. And the Lord has just laid on my heart, a pastor's heart, and to do that every week and get to meet folks like y'all that, we come back every week and we're building these relationships and just helping one another out in ministry. And it's all the reason in the world to keep going.
That's good. Well, how did you discover Powerplus?
It's where I went when I was a student, seventh grader, man, came to Powerplus. Lord rocked my world. I'd never been to anything like that before. Grew up in church, but never anything like that. And man, I just latched on. I said, I'm never missing another year of youth camp again. And I haven't. I've been going. I missed a couple years of Pineywoods. I think 2, maybe 3 years of Pineywoods in my life. But I've been going to Pineywoods faithfully since 2002.
Wow.
That's before Grace was born.
Yeah.
Whoa. Thanks. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Dude, that's awesome.
So what makes Powerplus different than like another camp?
Okay, so one, I like the disconnect that is Pineywoods. I mean, you're literally out in the woods, and I think that things like the cell phone policy. There's just this disconnect where, hey, we're putting these things aside, we're getting out of our norm and our everyday routines so that we can hear from the Lord. Because so often we have so many things in our lives that distract us from hearing from God, and we're so busy and so focused on other things that we miss that. I think that is one of the big things that set us apart, or at least initially it was. Since then, I've discovered the importance of the Word of God. I've not really been a part of many other things that spend as much time in the Word. I mean, from bringing camp pastors that do justice to exegete the scriptures to, for heaven's sake, we have worship in the morning, we have power groups in the afternoon, we have breakout groups that reinforce what we're learning, we have our evening worship, and then our church group time follow. That's 6 different times during the camp day, that you're just reinforcing the word. And if we can't stand upon, scriptures, I think what are we doing? And then just lastly would be just the fact that they're constantly improving. Pineywoods is constantly pouring into just from facilities to how they go about doing, what they do to try to reach students. Obviously, to picking the best camp directors that are possibly out there to do camp. Just saying. Selfless plug.
That's
No,
great.
I love that. I know my first summer was last summer, and I could not believe there were like 900 people there. Like,
Bro.
I've been at camp. I've been at camps. I mean, many years, probably same as you, and I've seen 800 kids, and they're all gummed up, and you're like, why are there so many kids here? And then you go to Powerplus Camp, and you're like, there's 970 people here. Where are they? I mean, it was so, and it wasn't. It was just so nice, so nice. So
it's cool. We're breaking records. We had a little bit more your first year than last year, but it was like a discrepancy of maybe something like 30 kids or 30 people. But it's incredible that Pineywoods is 4 camps that are full every single summer.
Yeah, it's like the registration. Like, if you're not in within like the first 4 hours, you're not getting in. And I'm so glad. They used to, registration would open up at like 2 a.m. and so I would stay up and get that registered, but they moved the time to like a regular like 9 o'clock. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's not January 1st anymore. It's like that's the worst time to get up early and register.
Yeah,
it's the 10th now. But dude, we broke records. Session 3 broke records for filling up the summer, which was super cool because the year before it took a long time or longer than normal to fill up. But it's just crazy. We talked about my history at Pineywoods. So when I was assistant directing, and I'm trying to remember what year this was, but like, bro, I used to register my group like in May or June. Like it was like that. But something began to change at Pineywoods, and I was assistant director, and I was actually on a spring break mission trip in New Orleans in March, and I get a call from Tim who goes, "Hey man, you need to make reservations now because this is going to fill up this week." And I'm like, "That's never happened before. I'm planning on doing that when I get back." He goes, "You got to call your church or whoever and make reservations now, otherwise you're going to miss out." And ever since then, it's just been getting earlier and earlier and earlier. Now it's January 1 or whenever, like it's January 10 now with reservations opening, or 9th for early registration for those who went this year will be able to register first next year, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it blows my mind how fast, especially we used to go week 2, and then last year we switched to week 3, but week 2 is like they're full in like 2 hours. Like, it's crazy. And but I enjoy week.
So we were talking about ETBU earlier. My friend that I met at ETBU is named Ricky Waller. He is actually the director of week 2, and he and I started directing at the same time. So he was directing with Kelly Johnson in week 4. He was an assistant director, and I was helping Tim in week 1. And then the guys who were directing week 1 and 2 left, and so they're like, "Hey, Rick, we want you guys to step up into these areas." And so Ricky took 2, and then my little switch around and ended up with week 3. So Ricky's awesome. He's got a lot of connections to a lot of East Texas churches that go to Pineywoods.
I was trying to remember because I knew you weren't part of week 2. I was like, when did we? But the first like year.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of shuffling over the Pineywoods week. Pineywoods youth camp used to meet in June when we first started, but it's been July now for a long time, and it was not always that July 4th was week 1. It has been that way for the past several years. And so potentially, I think when I started serving with Tim, however many years ago that was, that we were not session 3, but we were session 2. And then I don't remember like what year they switched all of it, but they keep adding preteen camp. They keep adding and they're going to add a 4th Powerplus preteen camp this year for the first time. And they've been having 3, but before that it was 2. And so it's just kind of continue to grow, which is incredible. And they're packed, bro. Every week it's 1,000 kids. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's the reason we kept going to Pineywoods, is because what you said, like the 6 times you you're diving in. Plus, it's in the afternoon. Like nobody wants to be outside when it's 105 degrees
Yeah.
every day, all day
Yeah.
long.
And that's a lot. I mean, I don't know who you have listening, if you have any Pineywoods people that check this out, but a lot of people complain about how, man, power groups right after lunch, we're like about ready to saw some logs. And I get that. I totally do. But it's so hot. And so all the outdoor activities are in the morning to try to maximize on the coolest part of the day. And so, but either way you look at it, it's going to be one of those struggles, because if you do power group in the morning, maybe they're more attentive, maybe not. But then you're going to do the outdoor activities in the afternoon and so it's just like trying to figure out, and that's the thing I would love for people to be more understanding of is, man, we could rearrange the schedule half a dozen times, and there's always going to be something or somebody who's like, this doesn't work for us. And there are every year. That's part of being a director. You get to deal with adults who just are like, this is awful, and they want to chew you out on all these different kinds of things. But
Just
all
know
in all, and it's great.
we like the way it's set up. So you
Yeah.
won't hear us complain about how it's set up.
No.
Even though you keep
That's
putting
good.
us
That's good
out
to hear.
at the farthest power group
No.
spot.
Let me tell you.
I don't do that. That's not me, bro.
Let me tell you. Well, you can put some word in, okay? Jacob's been going
right.
to this camp for at least 10 years, okay? And for our small group church time, every year he's been outside in the blazing heat, okay? I think it's about time that he gets
What
a
if-
more spot.
What if that's just where the Lord wants you guys to meet?
No, it's too hot out there. Too many bugs. Our kids get too distracted by all the bugs. The big moths or whatever hawks that were flying around us. Okay.
And Jared
Holy
becomes
moly.
his first year as a group with a group, and he's inside.
What? You were inside?
No, Grace. We were outside sweating.
I think I just heard something about like, hey, we love the way it's set up. We're not going to complain. What was I hearing something about
That's my
that?
only complaint.
We were talking about the schedule.
That was my only complaint.
We were in the dining hall, the north side of the dining hall, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So, I mean, cool as in temperature too. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will say
Yeah.
this.
I won't say how many years it's been since I've been outside, but so get this. I actually tried to use my weight as a director to get something from Steve at camp, and I was like, "Hey, Steve, come on, man. I've been directing. What do we got to do?" And he goes, "No, just because you're directing, I'm gonna let you have that. I'm not doing that for any other directors. I ain't doing it for you." I go,
Well, never
Thanks,
mind,
Steve.
Steve.
Appreciate it.
I'm not complaining, Steve, if you're listening. I will never complain. But
I will.
yeah,
We had
you don't have goals like I do.
Oh.
Jacob
Different kind.
Jacob and I and his team stayed. We stayed late after the transportation meeting, and we had a wonderful conversation with Steve. And
Yeah.
Camp World, camp staff, it is like small world stuff. I mean, there's only a handful of people that either still in it or have been a part of it. And so we just had some insightful conversations about kind of how Jacob and I both served at Highland Lakes Camp, and then the people that we worked with, and Steve was like, "Oh yeah, I know those people," and he gave some insight, and just like the way they run that camp is completely different than any place that I've ever served, and they just do a fantastic job there. So, and Steve's nailing it too. So
Yeah, I agree. And I told you I've been going to Pineywoods since 02. Steve's been directing Powerplus since 02 or even on. So, man, and he's been around for a long time. He knows camp for sure.
yeah,
But he doesn't want to be on a podcast. He was pretty adamant about not being on a podcast. Yes.
Did you think he would say yes?
Well, I mentioned it last year. Was last year the first year after COVID? Whatever year after COVID we went.
Last year was the first year that I went.
Okay, so it may have been a different with the other church. I was like, Steve, let's talk. And he was like, okay. I was like, you want to be on a podcast? He's like, yeah, email me. And so I emailed me, but he never answered. And so I saw him this year. I was like, you still want to be on a podcast? He's like, no. So you didn't have to waste an email. Why was your hand up?
Because I was going to say something. But I didn't want to interrupt.
Well, that was nice.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna
You-
say it now.
Okay,
Are you gonna say
we
something?
were
Are you gonna
waiting.
say something?
So I was also in that transportation meeting thing. I don't even know. But just y'all talking about all your years of going to Highland Lakes, working at Highland Lakes, and then like coming here, and then like I guess growing up in your ministry, whatever. I don't know how to word that. But it just makes it sound like Pineywoods is the place to be. Like
Hmm.
No comment on that. Yeah, I don't.
I don't know, because I did not grow up going to camp. I
Yeah.
didn't. And
Yes, Pineywoods is the place to be. Yes.
okay.
We'll let him answer. We could talk off mic about it,
Okay.
but I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because I still am friends with people that we worked with that time.
Well, yeah, of course. But
You're just talking about different experiences, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
So just different experiences and different people to work with, and so, yeah, Pineywoods. I think it's happening. It really is, and it's
And
a
it
great
goes back
place
to the
be.
schedule. The way the schedule is why we go to Pineywoods and not anywhere else.
I have spent so much
Yeah,
time getting to
and
know our
listen,
students.
there's a lot of
Go.
me.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a lot of great camps.
Yes.
There's a lot of great camps that are out there, and we have a lot of we do a lot of things with other camps sometimes too, and
Mhm.
I don't think it's anything like uh I don't. I mean, I know sometimes it feels like there's competition between other camps, but I'm to the impression that, man, these are all beautiful ministries that God has placed in us, and maybe it's personal preference, maybe it's a geographic thing, maybe it's a cost thing. I think everybody should go to the camp that best suits their ministry and what they're
Mhm.
doing,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of great camps that are out there. But these things that we've been talking about today are just some of the reasons that we've chosen Pineywoods. Pineywoods is not the only camp that we ever do anything with. There, like I said, there are other camps we do things with for other.
Mhm.
But I just think it's a great camp, and I think there are other great camps too. But we're gonna, for this foreseeable future, and as long as everything keeps in a positive direction, we're gonna keep going to Pineywoods.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
That's a good way to answer it. That answer.
yeah.
Okay.
This was my second year ever going to camp.
Yeah, Grace was in the Manchac students for how long were you here?
I was in the youth group here for, I don't know, a little less than 10 years maybe. But
Mm.
I was always too shy to go to camp, and I was like, that's not my thing. I don't want to do it. And I was also always playing soccer. And I
Yeah.
always chose soccer over it.
Mm.
But I don't know. Just I like going to camp.
Yeah, yeah, I love that attitude.
Yeah. So, anyways, Jake, what are you going to do the rest of the summer? You got anything planned to kind of get ready?
Bro, I was just going through my calendar today. Last night we had a business meeting that I was unable to attend, and we were going through some stuff that's coming up. We got some back to school things that are swinging forward. We got youth events, senior adult events, kid events, and so just trying to gear up for another school year. But I had this incredible thing happen. I was just talking to my wife Lauren about this yesterday. I was walking our dog yesterday, and we have this one slot. It's the last Wednesday before our fall activities kick back up. And we've been kind of contemplating, like, what are we going to do on that day? Because I've been doing an evangelism training this summer, and I'll be done before we get to that date. And the Lord's just kind of impression on my heart about seeking Him. And I was thinking about just doing like a prayer meeting kind of thing, which we've been starting emphasis at our church lately, pressing into that. But it just wasn't getting like a lot of clarity or a lot of closure on that. And then yesterday, I was just walking the dog and I was listening to some music. And the Lord just laid upon my heart about having this night of seeking Him, a night of prayer and worship. And so I'm kind of amped up about that. I'm hopeful we can work that out in a little bit of time, sort of a kickoff to back in fall schedule. But I'm just excited about seeking the Lord through prayer and praise. And so That's a big thing that's coming up. I'm hopeful that we can get those details worked out. But there's a lot of other stuff we've got on the docket too that is coming up, getting ready for the school year.
That sounds good. So, well, I don't have any. Oh, we always ask our guests 2 questions. Grace, you haven't experienced this yet. Are you crying?
No, I'm not. Don't touch me.
What was the last song you intentionally looked up? And then one story of your ministry that may or may not get people in trouble. Like something that happened.
Okay. I have to look back, but I look up songs all the time. And I have to look through my history to figure out what it was. Yeah, I'm not seeing. Oh, Cornerstone by Toby Mac and Zach Williams.
That's so good.
That was the last song I looked up. I just saw it at my church. It's my new favorite song right now. I am totally digging that song. But I always like to look at some lyrical truth when I'm listening to music, and so that was my purpose for looking it up. What's the story? What's the other question?
Like, what is the funniest experience, story you have being in ministry?
Funny, I think we could go with funny or strange that'll keep you out of jail.
Oh, bro, yeah, okay, because we are recording, right?
Yeah.
So,
change names if you need to change names.
Yeah. Oh man, what? Oh gosh, what story could I tell? Oh, funny ministry story. Like going through the things like, okay, I'm not going to share that and have it on record. Can't share that and have it on record.
That's funny.
I'm fighting. There's a lot of those, man. Shoot. Oh man, I'm struggling to come up with something at the moment.
Put him on the spot and he panics.
Uh-oh.
Sounds like he needs a new assistant to help him.
Oh no. To help me tell that story. That's a good story.
Grace would already be handing in the story on a piece of paper already.
I would. I'd be like, you remember this time?
That's what I'm saying. Top of the list right there.
Oh man.
Don't give me that look.
All right, I'll tell you this. I don't know that this is the answer to your question, but this is for something that happened at our week of camp. So one of the things about directing camp is you get very little sleep while at camp and up really late. Actually, the week that we were there was one of the best weeks we've had with regard to this. So I was pretty pleased with that. But I believe it was Thursday, and I was like multiple nights of not enough sleep. And I had been trying to get a nap in, and I only got like one 15-minute nap in like on Tuesday. And I was desperate for a nap. And so I'm literally, I just left lunch, and I've got like 30 minutes before I have to get stuff ready for power group. And I'm like, I'm going to catch 30 minutes. It's going to be beautiful. So I'm heading back to my room, and I get a message from another sponsor at camp on the Remind thing that we do. And he goes, hey, man, I really do about something, but would really be better to talk in person rather than through text. And I'm going, man, another one of those things, that you just have to deal with. Some bad came up or struggle, right? So I'm like, all right, meet me over here, and we'll talk. Because we've had to deal with that. That's another thing as directors you got to deal with is some heavy stuff sometimes. And anyway, so this guy me and another sponsor from his church, and they come over, and the first thing he says is like, hey man, everything's fine, no problem, it's all good. I'm like, okay, so what's the deal? He's like, I just wanted to know like if tonight we could have a blowout party and stay up past curfew and do a country 2-step dance night. And I'm like, you robbed me my 30-minute nap to ask me this stupid question? I was so mad. And so I was like, no, you cannot. Not at all.
If he would have waited, would he have probably got it?
The chances would have been better, but probably still no. But I was so quick. It was like, no, can't do it. Nope. I wanted to curfew 30 minutes earlier for him because of that question.
Don't even go to worship. Go straight to bed.
Go straight to bed. Oh my goodness.
What a bit. I was not happy. About that last day, like that evening, there was a bunch of stuff that was like, it was really getting to me. My nerves were real, like, there's like 7 people who came up to me at worship. They were like, there's not a place for our church to sit. And so I was not at my best, I'll admit. And so I'm walking over to figure out what's your Greek letter? Are you supposed to be here? You're not supposed to be here. You got to move. I was like, not the right guy at that moment. I'm not happy.
So I'm glad we didn't ask Jake for help on getting our spots.
I just showed up early and I saved the seats.
I did
Hey,
have a
newsflash, next year, no saving seats in worship. It's going to be a rule. Can't do it.
But how else are we all supposed to sit together?
Tell
Make it
them
work.
guys to
Make it
show
work.
up early.
Make it work. Make it work.
Gotta show.
We had a seat saving incident. I'm not complaining. It was just
Sounds like it.
she just looked at me and she goes, well, we've got 24 bodies we have to put in these stands. And I go, oh, I've got 37 to find a spot for too. We're all trying to sit down. So anyways.
Yep.
We should arm wrestle.
And that is the exact reason why right there. You'll have entire church groups that can't sit in an entire section that's reserved for whoever. The kids are already in there. They're already sitting somewhere else. So go find them, track them down, and let people sit down.
That's
Steve
right.
said we are this close to everybody getting assigned seats in worship. So make it work, or that's going to be the
They
new
did.
MO.
They actually ribboned off at a former camp that I was at. They ribboned off the exact number every single worship set. So colored ribbon is what
it'll
they
be
did.
very similar to your dorms. You know how in your dorms, if you shared with a church group, they have each church group on the box. It would have to be like that.
Yeah.
If we can't figure it out, so
that's not a bad idea.
That thought actually crossed my mind. I was like, why doesn't each church like have a section like in the stands? I don't know.
Well,
yeah. And then you get the group that's assigned to the bleachers who's mad at everybody.
Well, because their butts hurt.
we're just gonna take.
And there's no backups, man.
I'm bringing stadium seats next week.
That's
I was about to say that.
Bring a stadium seat.
I go to enough football games and band competitions to know, like, I should just bring one of these and be like,
I got one.
So,
hey, I don't want to wrap up.
Hey, just be happy you get to sit. I don't always get to sit.
There you go.
I sat next to your daughter on the last night. I was trying to convince her to tell you that I was going to be a good assistant.
Of course you did. Hey, one thing. Can I highlight one thing from our entire conversation? And I think Jake said it great, and it was coming alongside other youth pastors and helping each other out and encouraging them and loving on them, because I think that's one of our goals is the podcast, right? Is to do that, and camp's a great place to do that, right? Because you might have sponsors who are down and out. You might have youth pastors and pastors that just need an encouraging word. So to be a part of that network I think it's an amazing thing.
Couldn't agree more.
Every single year, and it's a blessing. I love it, and I don't ever want to quit.
Amen. Amen.
Well, I'm after your job now, so you eventually retire.
Any final thoughts here?
I don't have any, Grace.
No.
Good talk.
Okay.
Well,
Jake,
thanks for being on here.
Yeah, my final thought is Grace should be more of a dog person than a cat person.
Absolutely not.
I have a picture of her with my dog, like snuggling with her.
Okay. And then, I did make a post the next day on my story, and I said, I guess I'm kind of a dog person now.
Oh, I didn't see that. But
Yeah. Your wife saw it.
listen,
But I will always be a cat person.
if your cat needs a new home,
No.
I know a guy who can help you.
No.
Jeremy's a cat person.
Cat's gonna have he's only 17, blind and deaf. It won't be long. If he keeps sleeping under cars, you won't have to worry about that.
He's just saying the obvious. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's funny.
All right. Hey, you want to do this again next week?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to the Youth Pastors Are Pastors Too podcast. Find us, rate us, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. If you want to see our ugly faces, look for us on YouTube. While you're at it, give us a like on Facebook. See you next week.
I'm definitely leaving that on the video.